to talk to you today about managing virtual project teams. I know that's something that's super relevant right now, but of course, if you already work in an organization where you have multiple teams that are remote, then this is of course a topic that will work for you regardless. So it's relevant now, but it'll also be relevant in the future. All right, so I have 7 top tips for managing virtual project teams. All right, let me kick it off. So the first one is set clear objectives. What you want to do is ensure that your team knows when their tasks start, when their tasks end, who's responsible, etc. That's going to be the top priority when it comes to managing teams effectively. Everybody needs to know what they need to do, when they need to do it, and where they need to go to do it. So who they need to talk to if they have any questions. They need to find out dependencies. So that means that you have to be able to share your plan and keep everybody up to date and abreast of what's taking place. Tip number 2 is have regular meetings. So whether you're working on a project that needs daily meetings, so whether you're having regular stand-up meetings or you're working on a project that's a bit more agile, daily meetings, weekly meetings, or meetings every other week. Personally, I wouldn't leave it beyond every other week because of course you want to be able to be on top of things, to be in touch with what's taking place on your project, to be calling people and finding out what's happening and so on. So you want to make sure that you're at least meeting either daily, weekly, or every other week. All right. Tip number 3 is about relationship building. So listen, you're going to be building relationships in a wider context, and I'll talk about that in the next tip. But the other thing that you need to ensure is that you're also building one-to-one relationships, because as you know, as a project manager, it's not often that we get the opportunity to manage entire teams directly. So that means that our relationship building skills are the skills that we need to use in order to be able to manage project teams effectively. So that means picking up the phone or contacting someone, arranging meetings via Zoom or doing something even a little bit shorter, just getting in touch, keeping your name top of mind. So if anything happens, then people will feel comfortable enough to reach out to you and say, listen, this is taking place. It might cause a delay or we might be a little bit behind and so on. What you don't want to do is to be too relaxed about this. Because if you are too relaxed, what will happen is people might forget to notify you, and before you know it, your project's drifting and it's unexpected. And of course, as you know, that can have a myriad of effects going on down the line. So that's the last thing that you want. Tip number 4, and this one is a fun one: fostering a project team culture. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is taking time to do some bonding. That's the fun stuff. Have monthly challenges with your team. So that fosters people to join in and group together and do fun things together. Create a Slack group that's just about dropping in memes, and people could just bond over the different memes that they drop in from time to time. So I also know groups that, drop in memes, drop in wins, drop in funny stuff. People drop in even recipes and that kind of thing. Whatever is your bag, whatever goes for your team, feel free, go ahead and do that. The most important thing here is that you foster that kind of collectiveness within your team. And as a PM, really, it's your responsibility to dictate what that looks like. I know you have project sponsors and project executives, but in reality, you are the person who is really responsible for how things happen on your project team and the day-to-day, really. So it's really down to you to foster that team in a way that makes sense, to have fun with it. And by fostering team culture, I also mean that starts from even the very small spaces. So let's say, for example, you're having a meeting, just your everyday team meeting. Let's say you jump on even 5 minutes before the meeting. 5 minutes before the meeting, you let other people in. They start talking to each other about what's taking place, how things are going, and so on. You start asking questions about, have you watched this lately? I understand everybody's watching Tiger King at the moment, which, yeah, I haven't gotten into that. Haven't got the time. I understand that it makes you smarter and dumber at the same time. I got no headspace for the dumber right now. But it's a conversation starter, right? If a lot of people are watching it, you jump in and say, so I've heard about this Tiger King thing. Have you guys been watching it? whatever it is that stimulates conversation, that encourages people to engage, that encourages people to just be a part of your team. Ask how your weekend went. Chances are right now, as we're all inside, our weekends are a whole lot more quieter than they've been. But some people are getting up to a lot of fun with their families, drawing in their backyard, playing these different games. You never know until you ask, right? So I would encourage you to just foster that team bonding, foster that sense of fun, because collective fun bonds teams. So that is absolutely, I think, a very important one. Tip number 5 is to ensure that you have collaborative tools. And so I touched on this briefly earlier when I talked about ensuring that you share your project plan, but really it goes beyond the plan. You want to ensure that you have tools that everybody across the piece who needs to access it can access it. So whether that's in SharePoint, and I know I can hear the groans coming. I've lived the SharePoint drama myself, but whether that's in SharePoint or whether it's some Microsoft tools or whether it's Google Docs, whatever you choose to use, you need to have some tools that are collaborative, that people can jump in, update, change as is necessary, and also ensuring that you do maintain that sort of configuration management, that you do have previous versions saved. So that's what I mean by your configuration management and your archiving and so on, that you do have older versions just in case something happens. So I'm a big fan of archiving personally. But you want to ensure that you have tools that can work across your team, something that's really comfortable, easy to use. And if you do have new team members that don't understand yet, take the time or assign someone to take the time to help step them through it, because you want to ensure that people are comfortable, that they know what needs to happen, and that they're doing everything as you would expect them to do it. So I think that's pretty important. Tip number 6 is encouraging people to establish boundaries. So as much as I'm saying, yes, you can talk to people on Slack and on Skype and have your memes, etc. And of course, emails are flying all the time, so we can't do anything about that. When people have work to do, absolutely encourage them to just shut it all down and get the work done. Turn off those notifications, shut down your emails, and get the work done. You as a PM, empower people to do that. I think that's absolutely right and correct to do. Help people to establish what their healthy boundaries look like. And you lead from the front in that. Because if you remember, when we talked about the how to work productively from home, we talked about establishing our own boundaries. And I think in establishing our own boundaries, we should also help our project team members establish theirs. So I think that's absolutely right and important to do. Tip number 7 is actually something that I started to do lately. And so I have a habit. For example, when I have something complicated that I want to talk to a project team member about, I pick up the phone. I think that's absolutely crucial, because I don't want to send this massive email about a particular topic and have someone read it and go, I don't quite understand. Or have it be a bunch of emails, which is even worse, flying back and forth about this particular topic, when a phone call could have fixed it. And those of you who like emails know what I'm talking about. Even if you are an introvert, picking up the phone and talking to someone is a way to save time. Saving time saves money. And right now, time saving is just the most important thing to all of us. So I would encourage you to pick up the phone. But there is something else that I've been trying out lately, and that is video emailing. If you haven't heard about it, what you can do is either capture yourself on screen in a small snippet, or you can capture your actual screen if you have something complicated that you want to show someone, pointing out where the issues are, where the problem is, or what you want them to do. And you record that there, you capture the link, you send the link to them in an email, and that person has a video email of you, which is great. And usually for a small fee, sometimes they can respond back to you, or they can get a free version. So I use Loom, the free version at the moment, and they can use a free version to just respond to you. So that's an easy way to communicate while seeing each other, which is always good, which if you don't have time for audio, that's still great. You're able to let people know about complicated things that you can show on your screen or that you can discuss. You still get that face-to-face contact, which is also important. So that would be one of my most recent recommendations, would be to use video email as a communication tool. So I guess I have a question for those of you on here. What do you use currently as your tool as you are currently managing projects out there remotely? Just let us know. Feel free to just drop it in so that we can just share with each other about what we're currently using.